And before, Barry, good morning to you.
Good morning. I can only just hear you.
Well, I will try and keep my voice loud and clear, Barry, but I can hear you. I can hear you very well. Can you hear me a little better now?
I can hear you now.
Great stuff. Barry, I don't know if you were able to listen to John Osborne, the HRI's Director of Equine Welfare and Bloodstock. He made a lot of very interesting points, broader points, about how the industry needs to look at itself and how we all need to go forward together. What do you think this week has told us in that respect?
I think it's shown that the industry's got to communicate with the public and invite them to come and look at their racing yards or studs or wherever the horses are kept, and encourage people to come and speak to those who look after the horses and see the truth of what really happens on yards and how much care and attention is given to them.
From your perspective, Barry, what has concerned you the most?
I think the perception that people will think that's what happens in all racing yards, when in fact nothing could be further from the truth. I've been a veterinary surgeon in practice for 50 years and unfortunately been present when a lot of horses have ended their lives, and I've never ever seen anybody show anything other than sorrow and sadness and gratitude to somebody, a friend that they've lost.
Have you been in touch with your counterparts in Ireland?
Sorry, I couldn't catch that, mate.
I was just saying, Barry, have you been in touch with your counterparts in Ireland to talk about the implications of this?
I haven't personally, no.
Do you think it would be a good idea now for representatives of both countries and indeed representatives of other European countries to try and get together and develop a unified approach to equine welfare?
Yes, it's not just Europe. I think it's a worldwide perception, and I think the social license is something that everybody has to work hard towards. Not to cover anything up, but to open everything up and show people exactly what happens worldwide, not just in the UK.
Just in terms of what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks, obviously given the way that the Irish have handed down the suspension, Gordon Elliott will have still some active involvement in horses at the Cheltenham Festival. Now, I know licensing is not your department, and I don't want you to comment on the specifics of this necessarily if you feel uncomfortable with that. But from your perspective, how do you feel the wider public will respond to him still having an active involvement in runners at the Cheltenham Festival and indeed at the Grand National meeting?
Well, I think it's not for me to comment on regulatory matters. That's nothing to do with me. But exactly. I think the public are aware of the stable girls and boys and jockeys who are totally unconnected to what was in those pictures. And I think they love their horses and they'll be wanting to see them racing and enjoying it.
Barry, just for those who aren't familiar, I hope you're still there. Is Barry still there? He is still there, yeah. Barry, just for those who are unfamiliar with the work that you're doing at the moment, just leaving this case to one side, what can we expect over the next 12 months from the Welfare Board? What are you working on to make this sport a better and more presentable sport to the wider world?
Well, probably three major aspects. One is for safety on the tracks, which is work that we suspended at the beginning of coronavirus, looking at hurdles, looking at going, looking at starting stalls. The other one is looking at the data and continuing the work of the predictive model, which started following the Cheltenham review, and traceability of horses from birth through the 30-day notification right through to follow them into retirement, and also the consultation process for the whip, which will go forward this year.
Do you think the events of the last week will have any meaningful impact on the whip consultation, Barry? Do you think that will change people's perception of the sport?
No, I think it's a separate issue. Hopefully it's a very open consultation and people will express their views freely and honestly, irrespective of what's been in the papers this week.
There's been quite a debate in Australia that you may have been across between Racing New South Wales and Racing Victoria about whip use down there. I've asked you this question before. I'll ask you it again. Is it inevitable that at some point within the next decade, or maybe even sooner, there will be racing with no whips for encouragement in Great Britain?
I don't want to preempt the consultation process. This consultation process is a very full one, and hopefully we will not need to go through this procedure again for at least another 10 years. So I would wish for the consultation process to go forward with everybody's views, and I'll keep mine under my hat until we've heard what everybody says.
And Barry, just finally, can you give everybody watching today a sense of reassurance from your perspective that horse racing is a good place to be? It's a good game to be involved with. It's
a good game to be involved with, but we can do better.
Barry Johnson, thank you very much indeed.